In today's session, we are going to start by drawing a blue box on the earth in the post-flood section, which represents the Jews. God has called out Abraham from the nations with a promise which includes a piece of land called Canaan, Israel today, a huge family to live there, and others who will be blessed through this family. Abraham has a son, Isaac, and God repeats this promise again in Genesis 26:3. Dwell in this land, and I will be with you and bless you. For you and your descendants I will give all these lands. I will perform the oath which I swore to Abraham, your father. Isaac has a set of twins, Esau and Jacob. This same promise and covenant was renewed again with Abraham's grandson Jacob in a dream. In this dream, God says, "What's more, I am with you, and I will protect you wherever you go. One day I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have finished giving you everything I have promised you." Then Jacob awoke from his sleep, and he said, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I wasn't even aware of it." Jacob is sent to the land of Pandaram, marries, and has 12 sons, which later become the 12 tribes of Israel. Jacob becomes exceedingly prosperous, and his father-in-law's attitude changes towards him for the worse. Jacob decides to return to his father, Isaac, in the land of Canaan. During his trip home, Jacob wrestles with an angel and receives a new name from God. God said, "Your name will no longer be Jacob," the man told him. "From now on, you will be called Israel, because you have fought with God and with man and have won." Jacob's family, which is Israel, has grown to be approximately 70 people, and a famine has hit the land. The family ends up in Egypt and, after 400 years, are being persecuted. They cry out, and Moses is sent as their deliverer. Moses is the great-great-grandson of Levi, one of Israel's 12 sons. God rescues them and promises to bring them into the promised land. 2 months later into their journey, God makes another covenant with Israel to make them into a priestly nation that will follow him and through them show God's glory to all nations. Fast forwarding, Israel continues to grow and becomes a great nation. And God establishes David as their king. God makes a covenant with David that God will make David's name great. He says, "Your house and your kingdom will continue before me for all time, and your throne will be secure forever." A kingdom and a throne are promised. The story of Israel in the Promised Land is told in the books of Joshua through 2 Kings. After the reign of Solomon, Israel divides itself into two working kingdoms, and for 350 years went through a cycle of good and bad kings. Israel's northern 10 tribes fell to Assyria and ceased to exist in 722 BC. Judea, the second 2 tribes, fell into Babylonian captivity, ending with the destruction of the temple in around 590 BC. After conquering Babylon, King Cyrus issued a proclamation allowing the Jews to return to their land and rebuild their temple. Got to throw this in. Cyrus was predicted to do this before he was even born. The book of Isaiah was written more than 200 years before Cyrus was born. And here is the verse. Who says of Cyrus, he is my shepherd, and he shall perform all my pleasure, saying to Jerusalem, you shall be built, and according to the temple, your foundations shall be laid. Isaiah predicted a person named Cyrus would help with the rebuilding of the temple, and King Cyrus did just that. The temple is finished. Daniel is visited by an angel and told to tell Judea 70 weeks are determined for your people and for your holy city to finish the transgression. Moving on, 483 years later, Jesus has completed his ministry, and the crucifixion takes place. Back to the chart. The blue box represents the righteous and the faithful Hebrew Jewish people from the time of Abraham to the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. I have no idea how many people this represents, but sometimes I feel that they're not very many. One day we shall know. While we are here on this chart, draw a red box on the earth in the post-flood section, which are the unsaved, unrighteous. Now I have to set the background for the red box. Genesis 9, verses 20 through 26 tells the story of Noah raising a vineyard and becoming drunk. Ham saw his nakedness, and Noah cursed Canaan, his grandson. The word cursed means the removal of God's blessing and protection. Let's take a quick look at the descendants of Canaan. Ites, Amorites. These ites are all the ones we read about causing problems for the Israelites to this very day. The Amorites are the ones in which Joshua fought to win the land of Canaan. Israel, as a nation, decides they want to be like the other nations and have a king. Not a good idea. Is that not like saying to God, I don't want you as my king anymore? The first king of Israel was Saul, who was replaced by David. The throne was then passed to David's son, Solomon, who asked God for wisdom. Despite receiving the gift of wisdom, Solomon grew to be an unworthy king. After Solomon's reign, Israel divided into the two kingdoms, Israel and Judea. Of all the kings of Israel, most of them practiced idolatry, the worst being Baal. Many of the kings of Judah served idols. Few served the Lord faithfully. Of the 20 kings of Israel, none were good kings. Of the 20 kings of Judea, only 5 started out good and ended up being good when their leadership ended. Who occupies the red box after the flood, but before the cross? All of the people who didn't believe enough in God to follow his laws given to them in Exodus. All the ites, all the evil people of that time. So we close the post-flood section with 3 colored boxes. Green being the Gentile nations, the blue box representing the Israelites and the Jews, and the red box, all the people unrighteous. Hope to see you the next time. Shalom.